So here's the beginning of the steps. These are just filler stones, and I find different pieces of cement around the property, or when things fall out, I'll actually save it to use as shimmies, to shim things in place, to hold things in place while we pour the cement around it. Anyway, I want to put a layer of stone on the bottom before putting cement on top. It helps with stabilizing, it helps with settlement, it helps with filling, because cement costs money. So if you could just throw garbage stones in the middle, and the cement it'll use up space. Right here's one bag of cement, there's another. I mean, you can save 20 bags of cement if you just throw in filler stones in the middle that get hidden anyway. I mean, in the cement there's small stones. So it's basically what cement is made out of. Cement is like the glue, and it glues stones together. That's basically what it is. And over here, this is a very large rock. It's 4 feet, 2 feet, and it's about 1.5 feet deep. And I'm shimmying in. I have to shim it in place. So I leveled it out. Then I have to, put different stones to hold it up where it's got to go. And then I'm going to slide this cement underneath and all around to hold it in place. But until then, it's got to be held up where it fits. So the first thing I do is I make the outline of the side of the stones. I'll probably put cement in between these areas, put it in place, so then I could build the step on top, because if these are strong and in place, then when you're building a flat step, this is basically your wall holding up the cement, so it doesn't just go falling out. And how to hold up the side wall while you're building the flat step on top, it doesn't work. It's just going to fall out of place if it's not sturdy in place. So first you build the outline. Once that's cemented in place, then you start with the center. I may go I'm building steps all the way up to here, so I may do one whole step at a time and then do the next level, or I may do one section of step. And since I'm going to be using fillers anyway, I may then decide to build a second section, each step one at a time, instead of building one long flat thing and a long flat thing on top. I may want to build the sections. I'll have to see as I go. Well, here's step number 1. It is nighttime. I did this at night because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I figure if I can get some of the work out of the way at nighttime, it'll save me a big headache tomorrow. So that's why I did some at nighttime. Here's something to point out. I put some of this insulation foam along the side of the foundation where the stuff is going to be cemented to. One of the reasons for that is settlement. I don't really think this is going to settle at all, because there's a huge stone, and this is the foundation, and the steps are going to be cemented in the middle. So there's really not much of a place for it to settle. I mean, you can see how big this stone is. It's so big. And the foundation for the house is here. The chances of it settling are very low, but just in case, only about 2 or 3 inches of the actual cement is going to touch the foundation. In case it settles and cracks, it should be able to separate from the foundation of the house and not pull the house foundation down. Also, if it ever does crack apart, there's some insulation in the middle to prevent seepage into the house. I mean, it does create some additional blockage for bugs or whatnot. So, because obviously foam is not going to crack, it just stays there. So that's one of the considerations I've seen people do. So I followed it. I'm just using, you see all these bricks and whatnot to fill in between the cement. I mean, it just saves a tremendous amount of cement. And since making this whole thing out of stones and cement, that's it's a smart way to save and to fill the center. So this is it. Got stones on the outside, stones across the top, and we're just waiting for it to dry, and then we're going to continue. So we filled in the back of the first step. I have these, see these stones here, which I started to organize for the second step. I left them and just started organizing them. Anyway, so I put up the stones around the sides, and then I built the step, and we backfilled the back area here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a rim of stones in the front that constitute the step, and then we'll backfill again, and we'll do the same thing until we get to the top. I put just scrap wood in the back over there as a wall to hold up the cement as it dries. Pretty simple contraption. Now the cement on the inside here is going to be much lower. It's only going to be 3 or 4 inches deep, so there's no reason you want to hold back the wall. Here we go. Started the second step. This time I decided to start with the outer stone, 2 outer stones, and then I'll set in the 2 inner stones. So I set the cement a couple hours ago. Just came back now to clean it up. One trick is, if cement falls or gets on stone like this, or falls out of place, one of the tricks is to come back after the general cement is hardened a bit, when the cement is still workable, and to scrape away and wash away the areas you want to clean. Like cement got all over the stone here, and the only way I was able to clean it up was to wait until this stuff got hard, because if I sprayed water when everything was soft, it would just get all mushy and fall apart. So give it some time to harden, and you can still soften the areas before it gets fully hard. Waited about 4 hours, and I did some cleanup here, so keep the bottom looking sharp. So we started the second step here, and once this hardens, probably tomorrow morning, we'll put these 2 in, and we'll have our base for the second step, and then we'll infill in the back like we did last time. I'll have 2 steps, and we'll go from there. Here we are. We finished the outline of step number 2. This is, I made this whole area out of cement only because it's a very shallow area. I'd be hard to find a stone that would fit that perfectly. And we're going to fill this in probably tomorrow. To make the top of the step. You can see I put the Tyvek wrap over the outer board as I put the cement against it to protect it from moisture. Step number 2 is complete. Right after, gotta wait a couple hours after it starts. It's still drying, but you can see over here, got a little bit on the stone, some over here, and at some point I'm gonna wash that. And after a couple hours, I scrape off the residue. There's still some, I guess, cement, cream or sediment on there, but I just want to get off the big parts, and then maybe once it dries a little bit more, I could wash it. If you wash it before the outside is dry enough, what happens is the water, see here, I missed this spot, is a little bit of a chunk. So the chunk should be scraped off now. But later, once everything dries a little more, you could wash the stone before that, you know. If you wash it now, it'll just make everything mushy, or it'll bring up more than you want it to. So you can also wash it off with a sponge. Some people do that. I tend to just like to hose it down gently, but I have to wait for that. However, if I don't scrape off the bigger pieces now, then that'll be an impossibility later, or it'll be much harder, or it'll already ruin the color of the stone. Anyway, this is the stone. This is the second stone step, and the floor is just going to be right there. So I changed my mind. I'm not going to raise this floor because I want to have a fan in this room, and if the floor is too high, the fan will be dangerous. It'll be too low down. So I decided to keep the floor this height. So there's going to be floor over here onto the first step, second step, ground. Here's a tip. Today, I thought that the cement was going to dry in time, but it looked like it wasn't 100% dried, and it started to rain. As you can hear the rain, I don't know if you can see it, dripping down over there, and over there, it's raining. So anyway, this is just a tip. You know, you could just cover the work you're done with a tarp, as long as it's dry enough where the tarp is not going to scrape the wet cement and move it out of place, which is the case that I had. Water would cause the cement to start to unfold a bit, but a tarp would be fine, you know. So cover it with a tarp, you know, let the water run down. It won't mess with the cement that's not 100% dry, causing it to become soft again and have to be reworked and maybe just make a mess. Reminder to please subscribe to my channel to help me build it.